Hi, welcome to the second section of this course. In this section, we're going to start writing React code. We're going to start by creating and mounting our root component. Then, we are going to make use of functional components and compare them with class components, seeing the difference between each other. Then, we're going to see how we can do to import assets. We are also going to talk about the application we are going to build throughout the course and start composing components in order to achieve what we want. In this section, we are also going to make network requests in order to fetch data from the cloud. And at the end, making use of the state to make our application more dynamic. So let's start. In this video, we're going to review what renders are, install React and ReactDOM, and create and mount a Hello World component using React. But let's start talking about renderers. We talked a little bit about this on the first section. Renders are the pieces that manage how React turns into the underlying platform calls. What does this mean? Well, let's take a look at this diagram. At the top of the pyramid we have React. This is the React core, methods and classes needed to create components. But these components are not bound to any platform. And by platform I mean the browser, the native environment, or whatever type of target you can use React for. Then we have the renders, which are basically the bindings between some platform and React. ReactDOM, for example, uses React in order to generate content from in the browser. Native, on the other hand, takes React and generates some views in our mobile devices. There are plenty of renders. Here you can also see React VR that generate contents into a virtual reality environment, and we also have React PDF, which is one I built and uses React in order to create PDF documents. The reason why I talked about renders is because each render has a mounter function. The mounter is the method responsible of taking a React component and start the rendering process into the underlying platform. In this particular case, we are going to talk about ReactDOM, which is a render used to generate web applications using React. The mounter function in ReactDOM is called render, and basically it takes two main arguments. The first one is a React component. This component is going to be the top of the tree of the rest of the components that we want to build in the browser. The second argument is a DOM element. The mounter function will recursively render the component, as we said, and inject it into the DOM element. And this is what we are going to do in this video. So let's go to our code editor. The first thing we are going to do is to get rid of this log.js module. We don't want it anymore. Also, since now we want to use React to render content, I'm going to get rid of this hello world text inside the HTML and assign an ID to this div element. In this case, I'm going to call it root. Of course, we don't have the log module anymore, so I'm going to also get rid of this. So let's create our root component, which is also going to be our first component of the project. So create a new file and call it app.js. In this file, first I'm going to import React. And then I'm going to create a component. For this occasion, I'm going to build a class component. Class component has the following structure. First, it is a regular EXIX class. It has a name and extends from react.component. Inside of it, the only mandatory method that must have is called the render method, which is the one that returns the markup that we want to render in the web page. In this case, I'm going to return hello world. At the end, I'm going to extend by default the app method, the app component, sorry. Okay, but there are some things that I'm missing yet. First is installing React. We didn't do it. So let's go to our console and type yarn add React. So let's go to our package.json and see what it got installed. As you can see here, the newest version, which is the 16, got installed and added to our dependency list. This is the React version that uses React Fiber. Also, I'm just noticing that we have these packages in our dependency list, while but however, they belong to development environment because they have to do with Babel and Webpack. So I'm going to move them into the dev dependency list. Also the Webpack dev server. So everything now is set up correctly. Now it's time to import our app module from our index.js. So to do that, I'm going to import app from this brand new module I just created. And let's see how this gets built. Wait, I made a mistake in the package.json. So let's get back to it. Oh, this comma shouldn't be here. Okay, sorry about it. See how Webpack is complaining about this syntax, which is basically HTML syntax inside our JS? That's because I'm missing a Babel plugin, which is called React. So let's add it. What this plugin does is transforming this HTML syntax into React create element calls. So let's just type yarn add and install Babel preset React into our dev dependencies. This is very important because we don't want Babel preset React installed in a non-development environment. The final step is to edit our Babel RC file and include React into it. Okay? So we can now get to the terminal and try the build again. Another typo, sorry. Instead of extend, of course, is export. Now it should be working. Cool. As a final step, I'm going to take this component and mount it into the browser. So first, I'm going to import React also in this file. And finally, also import the ReactDOM renderer from the ReactDOM package. Okay? First, what we are going to do is to define our mount element. For that, I'm going to create a variable called mount element and just assign it to the DOM element with ID root, which, if you remember from the start of the video, we created inside the body. Okay? Then the final step will be to execute the render method of ReactDOM, which, as you remember, is the mounter function. For that, I'm going to call the render method, pass the app component and the mount element. Okay? Before executing our development server, we should install ReactDOM into our dependencies. So just go to your terminal and type yarn add ReactDOM. Just wait for it to finish, and what it does, just type yarn start to start our Webpack development server, which, if you remember, is going to be running in our localhost 8080. Wait for it to boot up, and when it finishes, you should be seeing hello world, but this time being rendered using React. Cool, right? So stop your server, commit your changes,